When it comes to owning a business, there are so many complexities that, quite frankly, aren't spoken about enough. First of all, we're going to talk about key employees, how to retain those key employees. 1 out of every 2 employees is looking for other opportunities actively or passively. But that's a huge deal because as a business owner, we rely so much on those employees, their skill sets, and their knowledge.
Yeah, and keep this in mind. For a small business, their key employees may be the only person in that geographic area that could perform those duties. Or that person is so key to the operation that he or she is literally the glue that keeps the company together. And the loss of a key employee could be devastating for a small business.
Yeah, and think about it. There's so much more flexibility when it comes to being a key employee because your skill set's not only valuable where you stand now, but it's also valuable at bigger companies where there could be potentially bigger opportunities for you as that key employee with that specific skill set. It's a delicate balance between your loyalty to the company, the people who have taken care of you, the people who have taught you and nurtured that skill set throughout your life, but also taking care of yourself, your family, and getting the most value for that set of skills that you can. And that may be, an opportunity where you're working virtually or you relocate for a better opportunity. Because as a key employee, I may be looking at it and say, okay, my skill set is worth X amount here, but it's worth twice as much over here. What should I do?
Exactly. And now let's take a look at that key employee leaving from the perspective of the business owner. For the business owner, again, it could be devastating to lose that key person. And it's also financially devastating because the cost to replace a key employee is generally 200% of that person's income.
Well, not only that, but also the amount of time it's going to take to find that person who could replace your key employee, or people who it's going to take to replace that key employee. So we have the time factor plus the money factor, plus if that person was a salesperson, now we also have another layer of cost on top of it because we have lost revenue also associated with this person leaving.
Exactly. So it's a delicate balance from the business owner's perspective. How do we keep the business in the family, but also incentivize that key person to want to stay without generally giving them equity in the business? Because again, you want to keep the family business in the family.
Yeah. So one of the ways we look at gluing this all together is using specially designed whole life insurance policies designed for cash value accumulation, ensuring that key employee being owned by the business or the business owner. And it's a really unique solution in that we're funding the policy, yes, so there are premiums going towards that policy, but we're also building up cash value within the policy that the business owner is still able to access to continue to run and expand that business.
Exactly. And one of the things that we've done is talk to the key executive to find out what's important to him or her. For example, one key executive had young children and he wanted to be able to educate his children. So his employer approached him and says, listen, if you stay with me for the next 10 years, we guarantee that we will provide $40,000 a year for 4 years for each of your 2 children. And now think about it. That's $320,000 that individual doesn't have to come up with to educate his children.
Not to mention the stress that comes along with that $320,000, right? Because everything else is still flowing. All of the expenses are still there. Where am I going to come up with another $320,000 to fund this extra expense now without being able to increase the amount of money I'm earning, for example?
That's it precisely. Now, the key here is the employee was so overwhelmed with gratitude that he was literally in tears. Now, that guy is not going to leave his employer because no other employer is going to guarantee that his children get educated. Yeah. So that was, we think, a win for the business owner.
And the benefit for the employee is going to be different. It all comes down to money, right? Money lets you accomplish those goals you want to accomplish. But by sitting down with the employee, finding out what's actually important to them, what they actually want to accomplish, why they're showing up every day, why they're breaking their back for this business, and accomplishing and helping them accomplish those goals with the money we're able to set up with this type of planning.
Yeah. And again, the key is in custom designing the plan for whatever the executive sees that is valuable to him or her, and doing it in a way where it's cash flow friendly for the business owner.
Right. Because as the business owner, you only have so much money coming in. And just like with family, it comes in, it goes out. How do we find money within that cash flow that we could make more efficient to help fund this endeavor?
And that's been our secret sauce for over 40 years, where we've been able to find money within your current cash flow to help fund these business planning strategies that are so important to keeping the business together and growing the business.
Right, because having the business is one thing, keeping the business is another, but growing the business with good people, it's priceless.
And think about this. If we could solve that business planning issue, key person retention, and have it to be cash flow neutral, where you're literally finding money that's being used inefficiently, making it more efficient, and using it to fund this initiative, my gosh, that's the best of both worlds.
Right. So when it comes to being a business owner, you're thinking about, okay, where could I find cash flow? Let me reduce my expenses or increase my sales. But what happens is if we don't tighten up these bolts, if we don't make everything more efficient and how you're using that cash flow more efficient, all of the other problems are going to continue and compound, and you're still going to be left with no extra money at the end of the month, unfortunately, right? So the way we diagnose things, we're looking for money that's holding you back and repositioning it to a place where it's able to move you forward, not only in what you're doing currently, but also in these other areas where you want to move yourself forward and secure that business, glue it together even tighter.
And that's a great point, because that's what we do. That's where we shine. And that's how we help business owners.
So if you're losing sleep over the thought of losing your key employee, click the link below, schedule your free strategy session so we could talk to you about your specific situation, how we could help make your cash flow more efficient so you're able to accomplish this goal of retaining your key employee, growing your business, not sacrificing one for the other, and how to do it all on a cash flow neutral basis so that you're able to accomplish all of your goals without the sacrifice. We look forward to speaking with you soon.